things in life. It's when a boy finds the girl he loves.
Everybody, welcome back to Beyond the Romance podcast. I'm Ange.
Dave.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into episode 1 last week.
Yes, sir.
You guys really showed up. And we knew we were going to have great support because we got good people around us,
Sure.
but we just didn't expect that. So thank you, and we hope you guys continue to follow us on this journey. We really enjoy it. This is actually take 2 because
Yeah, we just messed up.
yeah, we run into technical problems along the way, but you live and you learn. So, you want to start it off this time?
All right, let's get right into it. So, pretty much where we left off last episode was Angie had just graduated college. We were both graduating, and we were moving back to the city. Angie had said that we moved to my grandparents' house, but it's something that we did before that. So when we first got back, we moved back into her grandparents' house.
Yep.
We moved back in there straight out of school, so that was like you graduated in May. We moved in like June or July,
Yep.
and she was starting a new job coming up, so we were going to the city. I was working in the city already for a year, so it just kind of made things easier to get there. For a lot of people don't know, like we had a plan started back in 2017 that we were gonna buy a house in 2020.
Yeah.
We were in college one day, just in our apartment. I'm like, babe, I think like we should go with a 3-year plan. Like this was December 2017. I said by December 2020 we were gonna close on our first house. We was kind of sticking to that. But this is 2019 now. Both graduated, and Angie dad presented us with the idea of moving to her grandparents' house, 3-story house. Her brother would be upstairs, his room. He would have his own living room area. We would have our own living room and bathroom on our own floor. So it was kind of like similar to our apartment that we had in Sonoma.
Yep.
So, and we literally said, like, we don't have any kids, so like, what's the rush? So we were gonna slow down our plan and just kind of stay there for a few years, save up some money, and kind of just go from there. And then something happened next.
I basically was in between. So I had a birth control in that I've had for years. It's Nexplanon. It's a little bit in my business, but had birth control for years, and then the doctors needed to take it out, test some things. So they went ahead and did that. So I didn't have a birth control in during that time. They said, like, we promise nothing's gonna happen. Because that was my first question, is like, we weren't planning on anything. So, and they told me no. So I go ahead, and that Sunday I take a pregnancy test because that next day I'm going to be getting in the new birth control. But I was also going to be starting my first job. Take the test, and it says I'm pregnant. I was shocked, like scared as heck. I brought it into Devin, and how are you feeling during that time?
I was pumped. Like as soon as she said it, this is like one of the last times I was playing 2K at the time, and she came in the room like, babe, I'm pregnant. I'm like, what? I'm like, no. She like, look. I was like over the moon happy. Like I was just like, cause to me, I told her like this was my word. Like we Dev and Ange. Like I don't feel like it's nothing we can't do. Like I knew bringing in a little bundle of joy was gonna be beautiful.
It's the bundle of joy for me.
It was our little baby. I knew bringing, we didn't know if it was going to be a boy or girl at the time, but knew bringing that baby was going to change everything. I had never wanted to be nothing more than a father, so I was 100% ready to go. We was young, but we had already been together for years. Like, we had already had our foundation. We had a plan of stuff that we wanted to do, so I didn't think it was no big deal. And that once we found that out, also during that time, I was also deciding about a job because I had been working at, I had been out of school a year, so I had been working at a nonprofit that had me placed at a high school called Balboa High School in the city. And I had grown a real connection with a lot of my students in that year. Shout out Kalia, Orlandale, James, Kimora, Ronald, Deontay, you know what I'm saying? It was just so many students that I met that we got so close that I was like, we were starting to change a lot of their grades around. Like some kids had 1.0s to, at the beginning of the year to the end of the year, 3.5s and 3.0s. And I was promising them if they got 3.0, I'd get them a burrito and just stuff like that to try to keep them motivated. And it was really working. When one of the counselors had suggested me to the school district to go work at the central office, and they called and asked me did I want to come. And I'm like, I didn't want to leave. Like, but we knew we needed to take that step. Like in our plan, it was, get out of school, get a decent job, but we knew we both needed to be making about a certain amount of money for us to get to where we wanted to go. And this $10 raise that I could have been getting from going to the school district would have been it. But the connection was so good, and we literally was like, well, since we don't have kids, like we not gonna do it. So when she came with that, next day I called the school district, took the interview, went in like on Wednesday. So I called them on Monday, went in Wednesday for the interview. 20 minutes later, they called me back saying I got the job. So I had to quit my nonprofit. But we needed to get back on our track to buy our house because now we had a baby on the way. Everything had changed.
Yep.
And then just lastly, I want to say the quick point of, I know like the reason I feel like that story is just so important of like us having Devin and that making me want to get a better job and just push us in different ways, because you hear all the time from people that don't have kids like, oh, I don't want to have kids because kids slow you down. Oh, I don't want to have kids because kids are the deterrent or anything like that. And for us, it was the complete opposite. Like we were slowing ourselves down. Like we were going to stop, even though we had the chance to continue on to our dream of getting out in 2020, we were going to just stop because we were comfortable. But little Dev made it to where we couldn't be comfortable no more. Like he put a pep in our step, I feel like. So for us, it was the opposite. So.
Yeah, and so after that, my parents were super excited. Well, I think everybody was super excited. But my dad went ahead and he started construction on the house that we were living in.
He wanted to redo the whole, like, the floor. He like, this house ain't good enough for my grandbaby. We finna redo the whole thing. Like, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. And so he started construction, but when the doctors found out that he was doing construction, they're like, don't really want you breathing in this stuff with the baby. It's not too safe. So basically figure out a different living plan. So we asked Granny if we could live with her, and she allowed us to live with her. That was a lot of fun living with Granny. I know you miss this girl. And yeah, so we moved in with Granny, and now we're going from a 1-bedroom apartment in Sonoma. And it was a good size, like a bedroom, bathroom, living room, dining room, and kitchen. Then we were going to one floor of my grandparents' house with a shared kitchen. And then now we're moving into 1 bedroom in Granny's house, which was a big change for us. You're living with somebody else, you're under their rules, and just even fitting all of our stuff in there. Like, we still have stuff in storage from that.
It was so tough. Like, I mean, this was 2019, so I had been away since 2013, and she had been away from 2014. So that's 5 and 6 years of on your own, no rules. And now it's like, and my granny is like, she old school, so she make up your bed when you get out. Like, what are you wearing to the store? Like, I could be running down the street to grab a soda, and it's like, you got on them shorts or something, put on some pants or something. Like, so it was just like a culture shock, I feel like
yeah. I think, there's definitely some things we're like, oh my God, like, what are we doing? And also it was other stuff that now we're 27, 28 years old, and now we carry that into our house of, like, making sure that we clean up and just being more mindful of different things that we wouldn't have learned if we didn't live with Granny. So that was super helpful. Shout out to Granny for letting us live with her.
For sure.
We might move back in, every now and again. And then so we went ahead and moved in with Granny, and we're going through the months of just being pregnant and moving along, grinding at work and everything. And then February 9th, we had our baby shower, which is a really big day. So if you guys were there, let us know in the comments if you guys were there and what was your favorite part. But what was your biggest moment of, I already know it, but.
Well, Angie hitting that. So on our baby shower, that's the day that I proposed to her at the shower.
No.
We had, so I had bought her a ring like, probably like 6-7 months before. And one of my best friends, Rudolph, I had gave it to him to put in his safe to hold for me. And the reason I gave it to Rudy, because, Rudy, for those who know, like, he also sings. So I had been planning, like, I want to sing to Angie. Like, I haven't really seen nobody do that. Like, I had been looking through, like, people I knew that had been proposed to, and then, like, just all type of different proposals. And I had seen a bunch of different stuff, but I had never seen, I'm sure somebody else had done it, but I hadn't seen it anywhere.
Not like this.
Like, I haven't seen it like that. So, like, see, you gotta be serious. Anywho, so I was like, I picked these 2 songs, and I'm like, Rudy, I need you to sing backup. I picked Never by Jaheim. Like, I love that song. Like, it's just about stuff that you just never thought you was gonna be able to do until you found this love as pure as this, and that's truly how I felt. And then our other song, a lot of people at the baby shower, which was funny, because we black. Most of our friends and stuff is black, so like they didn't really know the second song, but it's called Perfect by Ed Sheeran. Like that song when we was in college, like we used to take road trips. We didn't road trip down to see Angie's sister Jamie down in Arizona. Like we used to play that song for song after song after song. Like we just feel like it fit our love so perfect. So I sung the whole song of Never with Rudy up on stage doing background, and then I had Rudy leaving, and I just did perfect, just us two. And I just knew everybody was gonna be there. There's like 150, 160 people there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the best time to get as many people there without her knowing like what's going on. Why all these people here? Like, what was you thinking? Did you know what was going on, or?
So now looking back, I don't remember any of it, except for just feeling like me and Devin were in the room, just me and him, me and you. Like I know that all this stuff was going on, and like even just the other day, Devin reminded me that Orlandale walked me to the chair. I didn't remember that. Like I feel like I was just so tunnel vision on us after that point when I actually realized that he was proposing, because the whole time I didn't have any idea. Like it was just, I don't know if I was just oblivious, because if you guys know me in real life, I'm kind of oblivious to real life sometimes.
Own world. She get her own bubble.
Yeah, so I was just going with the flow. I was having a good time, enjoying my first baby shower. I was just living in the moment, and it was at the point of him like saying something to our parents. I'm like, why are you bringing them into it? Like at that point, I was like, okay, like he's proposing to me, and at that point, I was super excited because I knew like we wanted to get married and everything. I just didn't expect it to be at that point, because one thing about us is like we never follow the exact expectations of everybody of like you have to be together, then you guys get married, then you guys can live together, then you guys can have a kid. Like that, we're doing it our way, and it wasn't like in any intention of like one way is better than the other either.
No, how you feel is right for you.
Yeah, it's just been how we've done life is just like how it's worked out for us, and we just figured out along the way. So like I never expected just because we were pregnant that we were gonna also like he had to propose to me. I didn't have that feeling. So when he did it at the baby shower, it was just like the cherry on top of everything for me. It was just like, oh, like you really do want to spend the rest of your life with me. Like I knew it already, but that's how I was feeling. I was excited.
And also just think about how romantic that means that I've been over these years of our relationship, that I was able to sing 2 whole songs, say a whole speech, and she didn't catch on. She just thought I was just being cute like that.
Half of the speech. I caught on halfway through.
She halfway through the speech after 2 full. Go look at how long Never and Perfect Year. That's almost 8 full minutes of some music. You know what I mean? That means I've been doing my thing over here. You know what I mean?
He has.
Yeah.
But so we went ahead and he obviously I said yes. It was more like yes. You guys gotta go back and watch the video. But what was I saying? So he proposed, said yes, and then a week and a half later, little baby was born.
That was February 9th. Well, we proposed at the baby shower, and then he was born a week and a half later on the 20th.
But we have to talk about the 2 days before we were shopping for our bed.
Right, okay.
Bayshore Ashley Furniture, it was going out of sale or going out of business, and we were going to go buy our bed. This is the bed that Devin is just in love with, probably more than us.
Hey,
but
Tim Peter, recline, do all the anywho.
So we were going to Ashley Furniture. We had our friend DeAndre there meeting us there, and we were just testing out different beds and stuff like that. And the lady that was helping us, she had told us about like her story of how she went to her last appointment, 36-week appointment, and then her baby was born the next day. She told me, "Oh, you're having your baby tomorrow."
We was like, what?
I was like, no, no. Like, I'm only going to be 36 weeks. The baby's going to be born March 9th. Like,
right, March 9th was the due date.
Yeah, so no, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I'm not having the baby tomorrow.
And she was laughing at us.
Yeah.
She okay.
And we've never seen her again because the store went out of business.
Yeah,
and
she was relocated or something.
Yeah. And so we went to our 36-week appointment the next day, took my blood pressure, and
it was on.
The doctor was like, "Hey, we're going to do 2 more tests of your blood pressure again, and we might be having a baby today." I'm like, what? How are you feeling when she said that?
I was pumped. So to be honest, I had never told you this, but when she told me I had to go get the car because we had to go to a new hospital. I ran downstairs and I called my two best friends. I called Rudy and Kel
Oh my God.
on the phone, and I was like, bro, it might be happening. I ain't gonna say for sure, but I had already kind of told them about the lady at the store. So I'm like, bro, this is really happening. So I had to call. Angie is big on like, let's keep it a surprise. Let's wait. Like she, even when we had when we first found out, we had to wait 3 months to tell anybody. I'm not like that. Like I need somebody to talk things through with me. Like this is finna happen, bro. What you think finna go on? So I called Rudy. I called Kel. Was we on 3-way or I don't know if we was on 3-way, but I remember like calling both of them, and I remember I talked to both of them, and I'm like, they're like, bro, so what you want me to do, bro? Like, I'm like, I don't know what I want you to do because I
Like
don't
they
know
were
what.
gonna catch the baby.
Like we didn't know. Like everybody was just like, what's up, bro? I'm like, bro, I don't know what I need y'all from y'all because I don't know what I need for myself. I just need y'all to know that it's on. Like, be ready when I call because it's jumping off sometime soon. And they were both like, all right, bro, just let me know. Like, you know them our two godfathers, and then we also have Joy as our godmother. So we called them just to see like, and I got back up and we went to the hospital and it was just.
He drove and called it felt like every single person in his contact list, he was calling. That's how it felt. And he's driving. We're driving from our appointment was in one of the part of the city, like Sutter Street, something like that.
Yeah.
And then our where we gave birth was at UCSF Mission Bay, which if you guys can have your baby there,
top notch.
have them there. Like
Top
that
notch.
was the best. The doctors, the food, the location, everything. It was just amazing. So we got there to the hospital. We got checked into triage, and they were gonna monitor us for 4 hours. I'm still like, we're not having a baby. Like, please. Like, they're just talking. But we did call. One of our calls were obviously to our doula, Bria.
Shout out to Bria for sure.
Yes. So if you guys don't know what a doula is, and Bria will have her on an episode. We should have her on an episode for seeing her perspective and everything. But we basically, a doula is support for both the parents during like pre birth, during birth, and after birth.
Right.
And it's really important to note that it's really the support for both parents. Bria came and sat in the triage with me. She was at work actually, and she left work and came to sit with me, just basically explaining everything that was happening, what they're looking for, how all the different ways that this could go, basically.
Right.
And they finally moved us over from triage over to a normal room, and that's when it hit me. Was that when it hit you, or you already still were expecting?
Once I didn't call Rudy and Kel for no reason. Once they told me we might be having a baby, I was believing the lady. I'm not them type of people that I believe in what people say. So like if you like, and if it got a little proof behind it, what?
This has been unplugged the whole time. Okay, anyways, keep going.
Oh, my mic ain't on.
Okay, keep going. It's okay, we got this. Let's actually let this is recorded.
Come on, Angie.
No, but that's horrible. Why we didn't notice that this is still recording? Alright, you guys, so we did take you guys' input on new mics, and we just realized it wasn't recording. We'll see what it sounds like after. But anyways, keep going. What was your thought process?
Boy, what was we talking about?
Like, were you expecting when they moved us from triage to the real room? That's when it hit me. But what did it hit you then, or you was already?
Oh no,
okay.
right, no. For me, as soon as the lady, I didn't call Rudy and Kel. Like I said, I didn't call them for nothing. When she said that, I'm like, okay, the lady said that yesterday. Bet. Like, if you say, like, I believe in people knowing, like, I ain't gonna say like I believe in like psychics or stuff, but I do believe in like people having feelings and stuff, or like being able to kind of, I don't know, like I believe in people having that little sixth sense type thing. Mm-hmm. So it's like for her to say that, and then I knew from then, like it was on. I was ready. And then did you talk? But also too, touching on Bria a little bit, like you said, her importance to both parents. Like I feel like she was definitely helpful with me. Mm-hmm. But another thing is like for doulas, like Angie said, like they are super important for the mother. Like that was the part that I was really like happy about, was everybody is so like the baby. Like Once the baby come out, nothing else in the room matter.
Yeah.
But except to Bria, the doula, who's making sure Angie's okay, like making sure you have what you need. It's 100 people over there around the baby. Somebody need to be with the mother, and especially like for, Black women. Obviously, you can talk more about this, but like it's already so much mistreatment within the medical field when it comes to Black women patients. So to have that extra support, I feel like it's like you gotta have it. But it's like you can talk about some stuff that she helped. Like once Lil Dev, you had a few things that
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll do a whole episode on the whole birth experience and everything. But some things that like really stood out with Bria was that you have your birth plan when you're going to the hospital, but you're not going to always 100% stick to every single thing. So I plan to go no epidural and just go natural. It didn't end up working out. So then, nurses kind of want you to stick to, I don't know if it's everybody, but mine wanted me to stick to the birth plan. Like, you got this, like, and like, okay, but I said I want this. So like she advocates for all the different options that you have. And it's really up to you. Like now she spent all this time working through and building up this birth plan. She doesn't make you feel bad for switching it up. Mm-hmm. She gives you all the different ways that you can change it. She explains all the different kinds of pain pain medicine and options that you have, all those things. And then also when the baby was born, my heart rate was going up, and so they had to do an EKG. And so the doctors are coming in here, and everybody's focused on the baby. Like the baby's here, he's healthy. Everybody's focused on him. But Bria was still with me. She had actually held one of my legs pushing, and she just was explaining to me everything that the doctors were doing, which is really helpful because it was super scary to me. I mean, I didn't feel anything of like my heart racing and all that type of stuff, but like she stood there and just broke it all down to me so I could understand, and she could advocate to the doctors for me, because a lot of the times with Black women, that's not the case. So yeah, I definitely think you guys should check out Bria. We'll add all her information in the bio and everything, and we'll see if we can get her to come onto a podcast to see her birth experience. So we had the baby.
So now, we had the baby February 20th, and then the day before his actual due date, I remember March 8th, is when the world got shut down for COVID. Mm-hmm. So less than 2.5 weeks after Dev was born, I was at work in a meeting at the school district, and we in this big staff meeting, and the lady just come barging in. Everybody pack up now. Whatever you don't have, run upstairs and get it, and get out of here. It's a shutdown, and we won't be back until further notice. I'm like, what is going on? Like the world shut down, and we had just had this baby. It was so like, it was scary. Like we didn't know what was going on. We were so scared at the time. Yeah. Like that kind of caused tension between us and our moms at the time, because we was new parents. Like we had this brand new beautiful baby we was looking at. Like we can't nobody come near him. Like it's me, Angie, and Granny, because Granny lived there, so we really had no choice because we was in her house. But my mom was very upset about it. Her mom was very upset. Her dad was like, "What are we doing?" Like, but they understood.
And it's the first grandkid.
Everybody's first grandkid, right?
Yeah.
So they understood, but it was just like, they still was very frustrated.
Yeah, and so my parents were essential workers, so they were still working. Grandpa Troy was still working. So it's like all the people that were all the grandparents or were either living together, or they were the ones going out and being could be exposed. So we just had to say nobody could come. And so that caused a lot of tension. So much so that we ended up, Devin had a really strong feelings. I don't know if you want to talk about this part, how you were feeling during that time of all the tension. And
because it was it started getting to the point where, so at first it was the tension because we wouldn't let him see Dev for the first month or so. And after we figured out COVID wasn't going nowhere, we kind of started easing up a little bit on that. Then it started becoming oh, well, now y'all both making good money. Y'all got this baby. We start hearing a lot of this about, y'all should get your own apartment. Why are y'all staying with Granny? We was helping, pay certain bills and things but we were saving. We was still on our goal. we thought that we were kind of on track. We were still on track for the December goal. We just needed to keep saving a little bit along the way, and everybody was just so against it. Like at the time, like I was just finna turn 25. Angie was just finna turn 24 like 3 weeks after me. So they're like, y'all too young. Like people aren't buying houses like that no more. Like this isn't back in the day when things was affordable. And we're like, well, we got a plan. And it just was like, go get an apartment. Like why? And I remember I had just told Angie, like, I'm just tired of doing this arguing. I don't want to keep going back and forth with everybody, but I'm not putting my name on another lease. Like, I'm not. I refuse. Like, I felt like we too close. We also got some good information from our photographer. Like, God work in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
At our baby shower, our photographer told us to go on Facebook to look for the pictures when we go on there, and he talking about FHA loans and he buying all these properties, and I'm like, the photographer guy got houses. And so I called him like, hey man, like thanks for the pictures, like whenever you're ready with those, it's cool, but can we talk about property? So he started telling us about FHA loan, which we'll go into more details on that on another episode. But it was a loan that helped us, that we didn't have to put as much money down as we thought. We were saving to go for 20%.
Yep.
So when we found that out, we like, wait, we got the money we need right now to do this. So we had more than we were a further ahead than we thought. So this was like June. So Dev was like 4 months. And I'm like, babe, I'm not putting my name on another lease. I don't care. I believe in it. I know it. I'm like, just bet on what I'm saying. We've been doing this. And I'm like, let's just go to a hotel.
Yep.
And I'm like, let me go to the car. Because like, I'm a numbers guy. So I need everything got to make sense. Like, I got all type of numbers written down everywhere, like plans for us. So it's like, I'm like, let me go call. I went to call at the hotel, see if I could get like a monthly rate so I could see like how much that would cost us. I was trying to calculate the food. And I'm like, Angie, when I get back, we'll decide.
Yeah.
And when I came back in, I'm like, I think we can afford it. It ain't gonna knock us off our plan too much. Like, let's do it. Is you ready? And Angie was sitting there like, I already got all our bags packed. I knew what you was gonna say. Like, and I just like, with everything else, it's like, she just always ready to rock, no matter what the situation is. We bet on us every time, and we ain't never lost. Like, we look LeVar
never lost.
We ain't never lost, you know? But real talk though, like, when we was going through that, like, we had just, like, that was huge. We went to a hotel, like, to paint the scene. This was 3 months into a pandemic that we didn't know if the world was going to end. And mind you, we were with some people that was super scared. So it's like we had to go to a hotel with this 4-month-old baby, young. And it's like, how was you feeling about, did you really think that what we were saying was real? Or, like, was it any doubt, like, from what our parents were saying? Or just doubt in general from anything? Like,
so, no. Actually, we just been, like you said, like, if he was rocking, I was rolling, and vice versa. I had no, like, for some reason, I was not scared at all. I just kept feeling and knowing that, like, it was working out. Like, whatever, it wasn't our plan, it wasn't perfect, but, like, I just knew that we were going to work it out, and we were going to get there. So during that time, like you said, I had the bags already ready to go. I knew what his answer was going to be. We are both Aries. We're very strong-minded, stubborn. So even if it didn't work out, nobody would have known until years later when it, like, if it didn't. But luckily it did. And so, yeah, I was ready to go. I knew that this was going to be what was best for us. The thing I was scared about was we were so scared about COVID. Right. So, like, going to a hotel, and it was just like the Holiday Inn in South City. And it was a one bedroom. It was just hotel room, just a regular hotel room.
Nothing too much. It's like for y'all from
the north. It was perfect for us.
Right there by like Wendy's is right. Like, we was eating Wendy's almost every day. L&L around the corner. Like, it's a Popeyes right there. Yeah. So right there, we was there for about 3 months. Yeah.
And so during that time, so like you said, Thomas had told us about FHA. So we looked it up when we got there, reached out to the first person that was closest to us in the location-wise, and we had to do 2 courses, and we finished them within, like, probably a day and a half, all of it, all the paperwork. We made sure we had our W-2. Like, we'll do all the things that go into buying a house, but, like, it's a lot of paperwork and work and time. So we got all that done within, like, a day and a half.
Going downstairs to go to using the printer. Like, we use so much of their paper. Like, hey, we got these 2 papers that we just emailed to you to the front desk. Could you print them out? hey, we're gonna have somebody fax this paper over that we got to fax right back. Could you, like, I was surprised that they was that helpful with like us sending all that stuff back, and like they wasn't even charging us, but we was doing it all through the hotel.
Yeah. And then so we got our real estate agents, and then we started looking for houses, and we were looking.
Well, no, first we got no, remember we had the real estate agent, and it took us a little while, and then like remember they called us randomly out the blue saying we got approved. Like, remember, it was like, we was kind of like nervous, like what was going to happen, because it was kind of it had took them a little longer than, like, after we finished the classes and all the paperwork, like, it was, I can't remember, it was something that they was, oh, you know what they was caught up on?
My school.
Her school,
yeah.
Angie, because, so when you're buying a property, more than likely, unless you're just, like, rich or something, like, they want you to be at a job for 2 years. Angie had only been at her job for 1 year, because she had only been out of school 1 year.
Yeah.
But luckily, because she had got a job in the field she graduated in, then it was okay. But that was kind of a hiccup. So we were kind of like, oh my God, did we go through all this? And because you 1 year too young, like we not gonna be able to do this. Like,
yeah.
And then I just remember coming back in from Wendy's when they called with the, like that was like the happiest, other than us having our kids, like that was one of the happiest moments of my entire life. Like that was crazy to me. Like
that was a big moment for sure.
I remember like after we celebrated for a minute, like, I went down to the car and I cried. Like I went to the car and I was just like, oh shit, like we really did that. Like, you know, like I'm gonna keep saying this all throughout the thing. Like, you know, growing up in the point, like you just see so much crazy stuff you see, like, and I used to just always know, like, if I could find me a good woman and we could really invest in each other, like we could do more things. Like my pawpaw had passed away 4 years earlier. Like I was down there just talking to him and crying and just knowing how proud he would be, like knowing how proud our parents was gonna be. It's like, it just was overwhelming. Like, not that I can't cry in front of Angie or like stuff like that, but like I just kind of needed a moment to really say like, wow. Our son was 6 months at the time, about to be 7 months. And it's like, we were able to give him more than I ever had, because my mom did all she could on disability, but we weren't able to have some of the things that now our kids have at such a young age. And Shawnee was born into this. Like, he don't know nothing but this house. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I just couldn't believe we was able to really pull that off. Even though I felt great in my heart that we was when we got it, it just was like, it like took my breath. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Like, what about, like, was you just like, I don't know, how did you feel? Like,
honestly, I felt the same way, that between the point of us, the doctor telling us that we were having the baby and sitting in triage for 4 hours, I was stuck in that feeling of like, we're not having a baby, we're not purchasing a house. Like, it just didn't feel real. And my parents have owned, like, I've grew up, my parents owned houses and my family has owned houses, so, but it was never like talked about of like how you do it and like that it being a goal. Like, it was just like something that we had. So to me, it still just didn't feel real, that it was like, are we really doing this? I think it didn't hit me for actually a long time until we got into like offer letters and things like that,
right.
Being accepted. Like, other than that, it really did not hit me until then. I think I'm just, like you said, I just live in my own little world sometimes.
And it's like, for us to not, like, we didn't have no help. Like,
that was the crazy part.
Didn't, and it's not, like, if you have to, like, get support, like, your family is there to support you if you need it. Like, that's not a problem at all. Yeah. But, like, for us, like, we had this plan that we had stuck to, and we moved in October 2020. So we was actually 2 months ahead of our goal of December 2020. So that was also big. But, like, you know what I mean? Her parents make good money. Like, my mom was willing to help with whatever she can. Like, but we didn't need that. Like, you know, we was able, and because we were saving for 20%, we was able to almost furnish our whole house too by ourselves. So, like, I just felt like we had just did such, like, it was just such like a grown up move. Like, I felt like we were just so like legit, like, with that. And then we done now seeing, like, in our 3 years we've been here, we done been to inspire so many of our friends. Like, we have at least like 3 or 4 friends that since us, then like either we just inspired them to or like helped them with the process. So it's like
even answering questions,
right. Like, even it's just like, hey man, what you think about this? Or hey, can you look at that? Or like, it's just been whatever they need, like that they feel like they can come to us. Like, that's just all been beautiful. Like, you know what I mean? So now it's like, now we all are grown up. Like, we all doing big shit now, it look like.
Yeah. And so we started the process of looking, so we got accepted, and then we started the process of looking at houses. And Usually when you're looking at houses, it might be like a couple a week or something like that. We were looking at 14 to 15 houses a weekend.
Man.
2 days, Saturday, Sunday, because we were working full time from the hotel room, and
we were living in a hotel.
Yeah, and I mean we just had the 2 days to be able to look through 14, 15 houses. It was so tiring, and then we got our first offer accepted in Vacaville, and he's still distraught. We got our first offer accepted in Vacaville. It was this house. We went through the whole inspection, everything, and then all of a sudden it fell through, and they decided they just weren't going to go through with us. We'll also talk through all this in another episode, but didn't work out. Yeah, it was really hard on that point. What were you feeling at that time?
I'm like, like we had already had our family come see the house, like that was like we was in the, and we didn't know like once you got that far that they could still back out.
Mm-hmm.
So like for me, and I'm more like I'm kind of super emotional, so like I was really like, oh, this is over. Like it just as fast as it started, as fast as it ended, it felt like
Mm-hmm.
like oh, that's not gonna work. Oh man, I was just super. I'm like I don't even look at no more houses. Like I had already been picturing where we was gonna put stuff, and I was gonna put a TV over the tub in the bathroom. Like it was. I had the whole house, but then once we went back to look at it to get the final like cancel paperwork, it was kind of phony. Like I was kind of, I think it was just that we were so excited and we was just needed a house, like
because
so,
we had been getting outbid the whole time.
Oh my God.
Like every house we were getting outbid on. So like this one finally accepted it, and it was like, oh my God, we did it.
Because at that time all the credit stuff was so the insurance rate. I can't. You gotta take this part off. What is it called? The
interest rate.
The interest rate and all of that was just so low at the time that like people was coming with big time offers. So it's like, luckily we didn't really know, like that was just like time in that. But 2020 was like the best time. Like we got such a great rate. Like we'll talk about that on our housing pod, but it just worked out that we just was in the best spot. I felt like so.
It was definitely God's timing for sure. In all the different steps that we got to this point.
All of it, like everything, just like I feel like God been just walking with us, like, and even this house we in right now, like this was probably like 100 and some house we had seen probably 100 houses before we got here, and my only thing was we needed a nice backyard. We had a son, like I always wanted to throw parties. Like if you Deb and Andrew, we throw all type of parties for whatever event. You come up with a name and we'll throw it, like so. We walked in this house before we seen the back, before we seen any room. Andrew was like, "Babe, this is our house. This is it."
Yeah.
And like, I still to this day don't know what made you say that. Like,
I don't either. It wasn't anything I seen. It wasn't anything. It wasn't the outside, the inside. It was just a feeling that I had, and it was just like something told me. It has to be God. He literally just told me it was our house. I just had a feeling like this is where like we were gonna raise our kids, at least be the beginning of that process, and it just like a sense of peace fell over me. Like this is where we were gonna be, and so they did not accept our offer.
oh, at that point,
Even though we had this whole feeling of like. We talked to them and everything, and
they
didn't
people.
accept us. Yeah,
I had been. She was an older black woman. His realtor was his great aunt, or no, his just aunt or whatever. Yeah. But she was like around my granny age. So I'm telling her about my granny go to church. She talking about she go to church. I'm talking about I grew up in it. She like, oh, you got the baby. Y'all a beautiful little family, and then they didn't pick us. I'm like,
yeah, they did not pick us. So we kept looking for houses, and I guess like maybe 2 or 3 weeks go by, and we get a call. And they're like, hey, our current,
they lied.
The offer, they lied on their application or whatever. They weren't able to get their lending together. Can you guys accept, we want to accept your offer if you guys are still interested. And we're like, yes. Like, this is where it's supposed to be at. They called us back 2 days later saying they got it together. Do you remember that?
Wait, they did what?
They called us back 2 days later saying, so sorry, like, They said that they're going to get this lending. We already had like 2.5 weeks in. You remember that?
See, Angie sometimes don't tell me certain things because she know I be ready to like.
No, we
jump
talked
off
about this.
I do not remember
you had
that.
to know this. They 2 days later told us that they were, we're 2.5 weeks in with these people. They said they're going to get this together. And so sorry, like we're going to go with them still.
Damn.
I don't know how much time after that went by. I think it was like maybe just like a week or so. They called us back again, and then they finally said like, hey, like it didn't work out. We're finally done with them. Do you guys want to still have the house? And at that time, I was like, hell yeah. I think Devin was a little bit more like, is this really gonna work out? Like, we already had the downfall with the Vacaville house, like.
And they was playing like they didn't pick us first. We wasn't their first choice.
Yeah.
Like,
he was ready to be like,
But the house, once we seen it though, like it was for sure the perfect house. Like it was really like to this day. Like if we had to live here for the rest, like I love this house. Like
yeah, we do love it.
Like we plan on buying more properties and selling properties, but this house is forever our house. Like I love it to the death. So I came around and
we ended up purchasing our first house. That was like when it really hit me, and like still to this day is like, how we did it. Like how did we do it? I know how. Obviously, I know it was a lot of hard work, but like it was just. I'm just so grateful that we were able to experience this, and I think all that time of like being in the hotel and all the hard time that we had during that time, while having a newborn baby, being first time parents, led us to this point, and it was like I'm so grateful that we finally made it like to this point, and like we were able to really live in it, feel the emotions of like, even though we didn't have all the furniture and this and that, it was like it didn't matter because it was our house. How are you feeling?
Like I mean, cause like she said, the story about us buying the bed, that was this bed that we currently sleep in. That wasn't a bed going to Granny house. We had bought that. We had been buying stuff along the way. Yeah. Like, so like we had been manifesting this. Like we had we big on like manifestation. Like we talk stuff into existence. Like we don't talk as if like what are we gonna do is like what we doing. So it's like we already kind of had everything, but things needed to come in. But it's like we was here. Like we slept on the floor. Like my favorite picture ever of us before we had Shani was us three laying on the floor.
On here.
Okay, yeah, posted on there. The picture of us laying on the floor in our house. Like I just was like, man, I knew it was coming, but it's just like stuff started coming in. They start putting the TVs on the wall, and I'm like, this really our house. Now Angie got an office where I got my sports room where I do Dead Spot podcast. Shout out to that. But it's just, I still be like, wow, and it's been 3 years, and I still feel like this is just like, this is crazy to me. Like, I don't know.
And then we're living in the house, and I took another pregnancy test. I'm not sure why this time I took one. Do you remember why I took one? Because I never had like symptoms of like throw up or anything like that. But I ended up taking a pregnancy test, and it came back pregnant again. So I bring it out to Devin, and I'll show that picture too. I have that. Devin and little Dev, and we're like, what the heck? Like, what are we doing?
Like Dev, I think was what, 8 months, 9 months,
something like that.
So it's like literally the first month we moved in, she got pregnant.
Yeah, and we were so happy though. Like that one, I wasn't as scared of because we already did it one time, so I wasn't. We knew we wanted a lot of kids. I don't know if we changed. We'll talk about that later. We changed that now, but we wanted a lot of kids, so it was like so happy. And that's when the video of we end up having like doing our own like gender reveal and everything
for the second baby.
For the second baby, and little Dev opened up the gender reveal balloons. Devin was running around saying,
"Boy makeup." Yeah, we don't make nothing but boys around here. Yes, Lord.
And we had Shani August of 2021.
August 2021. Our two little bundles of joy, you know.
And I can also talk about bundles of joy. That line is just so funny too. But we had Shani here in Antioch, Kaiser, so we'll do the episode of like the two differences, because I also then couldn't have Bria because we weren't in San Francisco, and I wasn't gonna be doing another doula. I trusted Bria, and it was either Bria or nobody. So I'll talk about those differences in another episode. But we had Shani, we brought him home. Little Dev was in love with him since he's gotten here,
Right.
which has been such a blessing. And that's where we're at now.
Yeah. Now we just been chilling. You know, they're a year and a half apart. So Dev is 3, Shani will be 2 coming up. And we just been living our best life, you know, like that's our love story, I feel like.
So thank you guys for tuning in to episode 2 of Beyond the Romance podcast. Really excited to keep doing these episodes with you guys. We got a lot of topics that you guys shared with us. So we're definitely going to be hitting the ground running with all of those topics. Keep sending those in. Hit us on Beyond the Romance on Instagram and TikTok. Wherever you see us, even if you just want to text it to us,
Yep.
let us know.
Send us all the questions is needed, and we're going to have an episode. And I got a good rant from when we was talking about the difference between the hospital and how men is treated through this process. So we going to get into it. This is definitely a pod where you can watch it. With your relationship, you can watch it. If you single, you can watch it. If you're thinking about having kids, if you're not even close, but just like you got questions, like I said, financial literacy, we're going to be diving deep into house property, stocks, all type of different things. 401ks and the benefits and the different things. So just let us know whatever you want to hear. We ready to talk.
Yep. So thank you guys for tuning in again. Have a great one.